Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today in this video what I'm going to be doing is we're going to be changing out the brakes, just the brake pads on the E90 as well as the sensors both front and rear. It's a very simple process. What we're going to do, we're going to basically, common steps is to remove the wheel, take the caliper off, get the new brake pads, put that in and just go in the reverse order. I want to bring you in just a quick video and show you how to replace the sensors, what steps you can include when you're doing this job. It's fairly simple. It's not intimidating at all. Anybody can do it, as there are certain steps that you can do to make it a bit of a longer lasting, if you will, like lubrication and more like preventative maintenance, so it'll give you a longer life on your brakes and it won't cause premature wear. Now that's what we're going to do today. I already started with removing the wheels, removing the front and rear brake pads so we can get a new set as a sample, so that we know that we're getting the correct ones. Yeah, so without further ado, let's get into this video. I'm going to put in the snips that what I've been recording in, and when I do the other end, we'll go through all of the steps to replace the front sensor, replace the rear sensor, as well as replacing all of the front and rear brake pads. That I'll show you one of each, because it's going to be a bit tedious to keep showing you the same thing. So I'm not going to make a full on myself like the last time, which I've done a video on. So yeah, let's get to that and we'll continue the video. Okay, we're starting off with the front brakes, so I hope I don't get in the way with everything. To remove the caliper itself, it just basically sits in like this, and this I believe is a CRV7. This is a size 7 hex key. It fits into the guide pins at the back, in which you will unscrew and then obviously take the caliper off. Your new brake, the inner brake pad will sit in here, your outer brake pad sits in here, or here as you want, as normal. That's nothing to be too concerned about. You can cable tie the caliper to something to hold it up, or you can just rest it on top here if you're not going to be moving the wheel. Tools, the set that you obviously use will obviously determine what tools you're going to be using. Now for me, what I've learned to do is to do some preventative maintenance. Always clean up around the caliper, so that when you put your new brake pads in, it has a fresh surface to actually fit on. And I like to just grease it up on this side. You can use silicone paste or something to that effect, but I like to use grease, because high heat grease is basically almost the same thing. So yeah, I'm just gonna clean it up nicely and then put the grease on, wait for the new caliper. Same thing goes for the rears. So yeah. Okay, so we have the new brakes over here. You can see this is the life of the new one, and this is my old one. What we're just going to keep these for spare, should in event that we need it for sample for the next one, so I don't have to keep removing the wheel off and everything. As you can see, this is the front. It's pre-shaved in an angle. That way that whenever the pad makes contact with the disc, it's not going to make that squealing noise, like the irritation part of it. And here's the rears. Not much of a rear, and you can see this is the rear, the new ones for the front and rear. I mean both sides. See how much better that is. Okay, we're gonna start off by replacing the front brake pads. The rears, I don't know if you've noticed, these are not pre-shaved like the front. So we're gonna take a grinder and a grinding disc and grind off an angle, 45-degree angle for this on the two ends, so that it doesn't make that squealing noise when coming into contact with the brake pad. Now you can use a file, you can use something to do with that effect, but if you got the tools to use it, I suggest go for it. So yeah, let's stop talking. Let's go and install the front brakes while my dad is busy with the rears, getting the shape, getting it sorted for the next one. First things first, you're gonna take your brake caliper and you're gonna compress the piston. Do this all the way until the piston bottoms out and it cannot go further in. There will be some brake fluid leaking from the bottle. You will notice this falling down. This is not a major concern as it's only going back into the line and it will be coming down. You may need to top off your brake fluid once everything is done, but I've checked everything once the whole thing was done. All the brake fluid was full and the brakes are all up and running. The next thing you want to do is, once your caliper is fully and your piston is fully compressed, you want to insert your front end brake pad into the caliper itself, and thereafter insert the rear end brake pad into the piston and then close it up, inserting the guide pins, tightening everything up, and then installing the retaining clip. For the rear brake pads, we're going to repeat the same as the front. Only thing you're going to be paying attention to the rear brake sensor, which fits onto the inside of the inner brake pad, which we'll see later on within a few seconds. Thereafter, you're going to follow your sensor wire through where it plugs in. You're going to remove the rear fender liner. There will be a plug which the sensor plugs into, and thereafter you're just going to plug it in, fish the wire through, run it as you would, make sure it has no obstructions, and then hook it up to the plug itself. Okay, now when it comes time to putting in the sensor, you're going to go from the outside of the caliper to the inner brake pad, which is on this side here. Now you need to put your head through to see exactly where it is, and it just clips in. You see this metal retaining clip here? That's where it just will slot in. So I'm just going to go down and fish my way through, and then we're going to show you how to wire it back into its place. Yeah, put a sensor now. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Okay, this is the point where the brake sensor fits in. I'm sure you, if you heard that click, that's all it takes. It doesn't have to go anywhere anymore in, and it just fits in through here. It just gets hooked up by the brake bleeder screw cover, just like that, and then step 2, remove the retaining clip, which is here. Yeah, got it. Next, remove the guide pins, which is at the back, with your Allen key or hex key, whichever you want to call it. It's the number 7 if you have the set that I have. Next step is to get something to pry open the caliper, so you can have some space by basically pushing in the piston, so you can have some wiggle room to push the thing through. Once you have the caliper removed, you can remove your old brake pads. And you'd want to compress the caliper, the piston, by still having your old brake pad in. Use a clamp or a dedicated pushing press tool. Get yourself some space, and you're just going to turn and press the caliper in. You want to push it all the way in until it bottoms out. Now that it can't go anymore, you're going to remove the brake pad. Now we can get our new brake pads in and put it in. The next step is optional. You can take your guide pins, give it a good clean, and you can put some grease onto it so that once the caliper is moving, it moves a bit more freely. So I'm just going to take some grease and just put it onto the main body of the bolt. You don't want to put anything on the threads, just on the bolt itself, and then slot it back into the caliper housing. Your new brake pad, what you're going to do is you're going to take some grease and put it on the ends like this, like so, just so that there's some lubrication between the brake pad and the caliper itself, so that it's not running metal to metal. Just a thin coat and slot it in. Same goes for the back. Thin coat. Just like so. This is not necessary, but I like to do it so that the clip slots in properly without any hassles. And you're going to face it inwards. The spring is going to compress and it's going to sit right in. Once that's done, you can reattach the caliper to its housing. Once you have it aligned, you can tighten it up using your Allen bolts again, and then repeat the steps to close everything up. Last but not least, you can insert our retention clip back in place, just like so. And then once we're done, we can pump the brakes and everything will be nice and steady. Let's put this wheel back in. Now for the front brakes, everything is basically the same. Only thing is the front has the sensor. So you're gonna have to follow where your sensor runs, and you're going to just connect it into the little box that goes behind the strut. So I'm going to do this one off camera, and I'm going to show it to you once everything's done. So okay guys, now that we're done with the brakes, what we're going to do is we're going to turn the ignition on, once you can see everything is once everything settles in, okay, you're gonna hold down the trip reset menu button. It's gonna see a little triangle, and it's gonna give you your service. Now you see the rear, that's the one for the rear brakes. You're gonna use your BC button at next on your indicator stalk. You're gonna press it, it'll say reset. You're gonna press and hold it, and then it will reset the sensor. Now you can see it says 32,000 kilometers. That means that will be until my next service. Now to exit, all you can do is you're just going to take the key off and jump out of the vehicle. Alright guys, that concludes it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you have any comments, leave them down in the comment section down below. Everything I've been used will be in the description and under this video. Subscribe if you're new, like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.